So we're going to talk about Detroit Lions and NFL football for the next hour. On today's program, we're going to recap the Lions 14-3 loss preseason game against the New York Giants. We've got some news out of Allen Park today as well we're going to go over, as well as a Brad Holmes draft pick being waived from the team today. Kind of some big news. We got a lot of news to get to, some stats to get to. Joined, as always, by my compadre, Mr. Russell Wayne, behind the glass. And he wants to be the first to tell you that we are broadcasting live into Facebook on Lions Villain Squad, also on YouTube at Villain Squad, also on YouTube at JC Sports on YouTube as well. We're also broadcasting live into Roku TV. That's the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV. So be sure to hit a heart emoji, put a comment in. This is an interactive show. We love to hear what you got to say about this 14-3 loss that the Lions suffered in New York. Russ, how are you today?
I'm doing good, feeling refreshed and, ready for real football.
Excellent show this morning on the Villain Report at 10 a.m. I was in traffic all day and I listened to the whole show. And I see Broski Bear in the comments. It was good to see you in there this morning as well, Broski. What's up? I was really just yelling at the phone as I'm driving because to Broski Bear about Caleb Williams. So today I'll be able to get that out of me. But right now we want to talk about that 14-3 loss. I know it's been recapped by every talking head on the internet, but Nate Sudfeld, I called it a long time ago, Russ, that we need to get a veteran quarterback in here. I know you don't fully agree. I think Hendon Hooker's injury only highlighted that. The Lions even made a roster move today to address that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Hendon Hooker comes in, and he goes 5 for 9 for 36 yards. He also gets another 34 yards on the ground and a quarterback rating of 65. Not great, not setting the world on fire, but you know what? He moved the offense. And the defense had to account for him after just a couple of plays. They realized they had to account for him. And that was more electricity. That was more juice to the team. Talking about raising people up around you, more juice to the team than Nate Sudfeld could muster on any single play. Hendon Hooker had it the minute that he walked in the room. And that was encouraging for a rookie quarterback. They can't all be Caleb Williams. So you just walk in and just come in, or Jordan Love, right? You just walk in and flip it out and say, there it is. So my biggest takeaway from the game, Sion Vaki runs really, really hard. And that is very encouraging to see. 4 carries, 29 yards. He averaged 7.3 yards per carry by way of a nice 15-yard gain where he juked the guy on the second level and just ran over a guy. So Sion Vaki was a real bright spot. Isaiah Williams, a bright spot, the undrafted free agent wide receiver, 4 catches, 35 yards. A 56-yard kick returns in kick return yardage as well, and 4 catches for 35 yards. Mo Alexander, a guy I was touting that I knew we were going to see in this game, coming from the UFL, and he only fielded punts. He didn't field kickoffs, and he muffed the first punt. And the second punt, the fumble was ruled caused by the ground, but he were very lucky on that. He could have very easily muffed the first 2 punts. Looks like it might be back to the practice squad for Mo Alexander. But with the wide receiver depth getting a little thinner today, maybe that helps Mo Alexander's chances. Any comments on any of that, Russell?
Well, my biggest takeaway from the game was that, after the first quarter, nobody that I was really knowing was on the field anymore. But the first quarter, I really liked seeing Amik Robertson, Ennis Rakestraw, and Terrion Arnold out there really playing well. Granted, it's against the second team, so I'm not going to get too pumped up about it, but they didn't allow anything. They didn't even try Terrion Arnold. And for all of that Malik Neighbors hype during the week, and, oh, man, he's been crushing them in practice. He got shut down during the game. So there you go.
Right. And I don't really feel the need to talk about this game. It happened way back on Thursday. This is a weekly show here on the Villain Squad Network. It's a weekly show. Normally, the games are played on Sunday, so going to Monday at 7 is a great time to be talking about the game, but not so much when the game was on Thursday. So yeah, one thing that I did say on your show on the Villain Report though, was that I took. You said you asked me what was one of your biggest takeaways from the game, and one of my biggest takeaways was Antoine Green got bullied. There was a great comment by Golden Tate, his first time announcing. Shout out to Golden Tate, did a great job announcing in his first game as a color commentator. And he said, Antoine Green went to block a safety, and he said he wanted to be the hammer, but he ended up being the nail. And because he got planted right on his keister. And then on another play, on a crucial 4th down run up the middle, he gets blocked into the ball carrier to prevent the first down on a 4th down because he just got muscled. And now, and lo and behold, today, Antoine Green waived by the Detroit Lions. This is a Brad Holmes draft pick. And he's now waived by the Detroit Lions. And we'll see if he clears waivers. We've seen this before. Jamar Jefferson, another 7th round draft pick from Brad Holmes, was waived before. He cleared waivers, and we brought him back on the practice squad. Maybe we'll see that again with Antoine Green. Are you surprised about Antoine Green being waived?
When you brought that up from last week, it really, we want a physical brand of football. I mean, he might be able to catch on somewhere else. I don't know if he's going to clear waivers because he's actually got some skill, but I mean, but you really want him to be able to block. I mean, no block, no rock in this offense. And, if you're getting embarrassed like that in the blocking game, you ain't going to have a place here with the Detroit Lions. So, it's an unfortunate thing. It's a rare miss on a 7th round pick by Brad Holmes. So there you go.
Right. If a schlep like me noticed it, I'm sure Dan Campbell did. Buddy, Jake D in the house. The NFC North legend, Jake D in the house. Great to see you here. Davey says, one pride, go Lions. It takes more grit. And our good friend A-Dub in the house, one of the best Packer fans there is. Joseph in the house, what's up? Says Vaki could play backup quarterback. Yeah, instead of Nate Sudfeld. I'm down with that. We'll just run RPOs with Vaki. I'm down with it. Detroit
like
fan man, one of the best in the business. Detroit fan man in the house. Here we go. It's Fromm season. That's right. We're going to talk about that. Elise Meeb says, hi, fellas. Hello, villains. Looking forward to hearing your take on the roster moves today. We're going to jump into that for sure. So many good comments. Thanks for being here. Put your comments and we'll try to get to all of them. But yeah, Lions also sign a quarterback today. Now, these roster moves, let's run through it real quick, and then we'll get in depth about each one. But they released Ike Becker, who was the offensive lineman that they had just recently brought in a couple weeks later. Obviously, something wasn't coming. I think it was an injury designation, right, that they released him with. And Antoine Green waived as well. So they bring in Jake Fromm, former quarterback at the University of Georgia. He's 6'2", 215, and he was drafted in the 5th round by the Buffalo Bills in 2020. And he does have some NFL experience. His career record is 27 of 60 for 210 yards. That's not really good. 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. So talent in, talent out. Right now, these are camp bodies. You need somebody, like you said, Russ, to run the plays, right?
Yeah, this is a body move right here. If they were really serious about somebody that wanted to run the offense, they would have brought in somebody serious. There's other quarterbacks that are available out there. They need a body to go and play the preseason game, and they don't know if Hendon Hooker is going to clear concussion protocol. But this signing to me says a lot about how they feel about Hendon Hooker, because this guy might be able to maybe push Nate Sudfeld for number 3, but he's just a body to me.
I think so. And same thing as well. Connor Galvin was waived a couple of days ago. This is a weekly show, folks. Offensive lineman we had at depth piece, and defensive lineman Nate Lynn was placed on the IR. They turn around and sign 2 players to take those roster spots, to your point, Russ, right? More camp bodies. You got to have somebody out there. You got to fill out these teams. Abraham Beauplan, a linebacker, and they also signed tackle Jamarco Jones. Now, Jamarco Jones has an injury history, but if you look at the numbers, when he plays, he's productive. So this is one of those dart throws by Brad Holmes that maybe you catch them while they're healthy and you get some juice out of them. Jeremy B, smoking Jeremy B in the house. Jake from State Farm. Oh, it's me, Jake from State Farm. Jake Fromm signed by the Lions. That's right.
You like that?
I like this take by Broski too. It's preseason. No need to overact in a positive or a negative manner way. Something Russ said on his show today. Don't get overly high. Don't get overly. Let's that preseason guys. Preseason is to fill out your bottom 5 roster spots. That's a great call out. But this is how, weekly internet shows about football work in the offseason, Broski. All right. Jeremy says Antoine Green waved. Yep. We talked about it, Jeremy. Give us your take on it, man. And he thinks Jake Fromm will be Suckfeld 2.0. But I can tell you that he's 6'2". He's got a big arm. He actually had a second-round grade on him when he was coming out of college, but Jake Fromm said some disparaging words. I think it was something about a gun. I don't remember exactly what it was. Something about everyone should have guns or something. Don't quote me on that. But he said something that cost him, and he slipped down to the 5th round. He comes from the University of Georgia, where they play a pro-style offense, SEC. So, his numbers do look very Suckfeld-ish, I will say. However. So, what do you got, Russ? What's next?
Well, I mean, you've covered all the injuries and whatnot, and I haven't heard anything new on our backup quarterback right here. There's a little bit of hooker hype. It just kind of sounds weird, but he still hasn't cleared concussion protocol. But what do you think of the hooker hype? I mean, we got to relax, right? He ran 30 yards, guys. Relax.
Yeah. I think, it was encouraging. I would have liked to seen him sooner, and I think we will see him soon. I don't think this concussion thing is going to be a big deal. I think he's going to come right back. And now you bring in Jake Fromm. You're not going to play Jared Goff in Kansas City. So now if he doesn't clear protocol, you got to make some roster move to bring in a body, like you said, a quarterback to come in, and that's what it's going to be.
Right.
But I still see the need. I still see the need for a veteran QB to come in. I've been saying it for a long time. I can feel it in my bones that this is going to happen. Chad Dateba's in the house. What's up, Chad? Good to see you in here, my friend, as well. And I like this comment from Terrion Arnold and from Detroit Fan Man about Terrion Arnold, that he was the only purported starter who actually played. That has to be the fewest starters in any Lions preseason game. I don't know about that, but what I will say is Jalen Reeves-Maybin started the game. And he is an all-pro, not Pro Bowl, all-pro. You get one special teamer for an all-pro in the NFC, and it was him. He's the highest paid special teams player, but he's also a backup linebacker. And you saw him take the field out there with all these dishwashers and drywallers, and he shined. He was like a man among boys out there. And Amik Robertson also makes the first tackle on the first kickoff, makes the first tackle of the first play, and then it kind of just, used him a little bit more in there, here and there. But that was encouraging to me, that when the starting caliber players were on the field, they were dominant. And you could say that about every team. All the 4 teams in the North, every team that played this weekend. When their ones are out there, the talent level is so obvious, right? It's so obvious. So I was encouraged that when we saw those guys, they were good. Enes Rakestraw allowed 0 yards. Terrion Arnold allowed 0 yards on 9 snaps. I think Rakestraw had 22 snaps, 0 yards. They just weren't throwing. Those guys had their guys locked up. And that is good to see. So these are frontline starter quality players that we did see a sneak peek, and they did their job when they were out there. And that's what you want to see. And then it's like Broski says, then you're filling out the bottom 5 of your roster.
It's a beautiful thing. Like when you're looking at this, you're watching, no matter what team you watch, if you're the guy that you want to see in preseason goes in and then comes out, then that probably means he did a good job. You know, you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to see them
Mm-hmm.
a lot in there. You want to see those guys go in and out. They need to take an extended look at you in preseason. That means that you're not doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Terrion Arnold and those guys came in and out, that was the most encouraging thing to me, because I'm not going to get too high on preseason, but the fact that they came out quickly shows me that the coaching staff has confidence in them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Preseason game. Like Jake D says, hell, I remind myself about the '08 Lions if I ever get hung up on a preseason game.
We wanted them to lose. I'm on record on
Yeah.
the Thursday show, and look, I want them to lose this game tonight because I remember going 4-0 in '08.
Right.
Yeah, real good, Kitna. We can win 10 games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jeremy says it isn't decided if they'll play starters against KC, because KC always plays 2 to 3 series with starters every preseason game. Yeah, but we didn't see Patrick Mahomes, right? We're not going to see Mahomes.
Well, I think
At least me.
Reed does. Take Mahomes and puts him out there. He carts him out there. You
Does
know?
he? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't see him last week.
He believes in that. That's one of those things. They go against each other. You know, Reed thinks they should play starters to keep them loose, and Dan said no. I think
right. Jeremy says that is according to Dan Campbell himself today. So thanks for clearing that up. Elise says, I agree with the veteran quarterback Mike. Knowing Bridgewater was there last season was comforting. Exactly. That's such a great call out. You know, if you got Case Keenum or you got Teddy Bridgewater, you got these guys that could win you 2 out of 4 games in any stretch of your season. They could potentially win 2 of 4 games. We saw with David Blau, Tim Boyle, and I'm sure with Nate Sudfeld, you would not win 2 of 4 games.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill, like Jake D says, Ryan Tannehill, yeah. He's started an AFC championship game. He's won a playoff game. I always thought he was a step above Derek Carr in the bum department. But this window for this team, folks, is open right now, and it doesn't come along every day. Like Dan Campbell said at the end of the season last year, this could be your only shot. It's that fragile of a thing, and the window is open right now. All the pieces are in place except one, and that is that comforting feeling that Elise is talking about, sitting on the bench, knowing that if my starting franchise $55 million quarterback goes down, that I can still keep this ship afloat to get through that injury, or maybe even further, like we saw Nick Foles win a Super Bowl. Okay? You think it isn't that important? Ask the Niners when Brock Purdy had to even play, and then when he gets to the championship game and he gets hurt. It's crucial. It's a very important part of the team. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. What do you got, Russ?
Mike, I have the real question comes to, it's like, I know you throw Ryan Tannehill's name out there. I've heard trading for Taylor Heineke could be a possibility with that. So, but the question is does Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes believe that Hendon Hooker is a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill right now? Does he believe that Hendon Hooker can win him a game before Taylor Heineke would? Now, I know that everyone says, oh, it's just the experience. But these guys are placing bets on their younger guys to develop and turn into the guys that they need to be. And I thought that Hendon Hooker looked fine in the pocket. He looked poised. He didn't look like it was too fast for him. And he just got injured or concussed. So slide.
Jeremy putting it in the chat. Thank you, Jeremy, that I was mistaken. Patrick Mahomes did play a series last week, but his misspelling says Patrick Mahomes played a series last week. Mahomes. He's got big Mahomes.
He's got Mahomes.
Mahomes.
It's like Jake from State Farm.
Broski says Lions should have bucked up and paid Tannehill. He would have been great for them. Fromm is a waste of time. Well, I don't know about that. You know, there's that Texas A&M connection.
Is Tannehill better than Hooker? I mean, that's the $1 million question. It turns out that they didn't
Come on,
go
Russ.
get Tannehill. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know.
He's been a starter in this league for a long time. The
That
game
means he
has
has
slowed
more
down for
experience.
him.
Is he better? Does he give them a better chance to win? Because Ryan Tannehill has to come in here and learn the offense. Ryan Tannehill hasn't been here for a year and a half inside of training rooms, understanding the play calls, going down to Teddy Bridgewater's house while he's teaching him how to install his offense. Ryan Tannehill may not be a better quarterback for this team right here and right now than Hendon Hooker. And that's why they signed Jake from State Farm.
Can I get a Kirk Cousins on that? No, I can't. Can I?
You like that?
Yeah, great take by Russell Wayne. Absolutely right. Don't forget to catch Russell Wayne every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. on the Villain Squad Network. And he is talking football, and we'd like to pop in there as well. But I agree with you 100%. There it is, the Villain Report, 10 a.m. with Russell Wayne. It's a good show, real good show today. But I have to say that you're right, man. You're 100% right, Russ.
1 second, I'll be back.
Yeah, Tannehill sounds good right now to me because I'm a knucklehead. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins sounded good to me. Okay, Danielle Hunter sounded good to me, but they didn't pull the trigger on these deals because they weren't the right guy. Because I'm not in the building and you're not in the building and we don't know. So we got to trust the process. We got to trust Brad Holmes, which I do 100%. Yeah. John Kapler in the house. What's up? But we have Jake from State Farm. We're definitely insured at the backup quarterback position. I am going to use that one, John. I'm going to have to steal that one from you, buddy. Okay, we're not going to put that comment up from Broski. We're not going to put that out in the world. Donkey Kong, welcome back to the program, Donkey. Good to see you.
God.
So I'm going to jump topic on you now. EV in the house says, what are we talking about? Well, what we were talking about was the roster moves the Lions have made and whether or not we need some insurance at quarterback, not named Jake from State Farm. Because Hendon Hooker, Nate Sudfeld, and Jake Fromm does not give me comfort as a fan of a team that is a legit Super Bowl contender, and that's my backup quarterback options right now. Could Hendon Hooker be great? I think he's going to be really good. I do. I really do. But I don't want a Super Bowl bound team resting on that. I'd like to see a veteran on the bench. There's so many things involved, though, right? Like you were just saying, Russ. There's also that fact. The old saying, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, right? There's that confidence feeling knowing I'm the number two. And the only guy behind me is Jake Fromm. It isn't Ryan Tannehill sitting there behind me. And that builds his confidence. And you're talking about coaching staff that's all former players for the most part. So I think that there's a lot to be said for it. But as a fan, it makes me skittish going into a playoff run. And if God forbid, Goff were to get an ankle sprain or something like that.
Well, thank God these guys don't listen to what the fans say, because if they did that, they would have cut Derek Barnes and they would have cut Ifeatu Melifonwu. If you listen to everybody before last season, they would have cut Aleem McNeil because he had to change positions in the middle of his first year. So I'm glad we don't listen to the fans who have knee-jerk reactions and think that they know, like me. Like, I have knee-jerk reactions, but they seem to keep this even keel with Brad Holmes. He believes in these guys that he brought in and for the reasons that he brought them in. So for him to not bring in Ryan Tannehill to go get a Jake Fromm just tells me that the coaching staff has confidence in Hendon Hooker.
And that will not be the last time, folks, that Russell says Jake Farm instead of Jake Fromm, because that is going to be
Jake Farm. Jake Farm.
That's it. I'm calling him Jake Farm from now on. All right.
Jake Fromm State Farm.
Love it. Evie says, good thing we have a lot of protection around Goff. Yeah, that's got that one right. And besides that, Goff's durable. Goff's been shown to be real durable. He hasn't missed a lot of games in his career.
Did you see that? I don't want to give.
Let's hear it.
Broski just got like he was like, what was that? There it is. It's a picture of Caleb Williams. Look at that, Mike.
I know. And Broski's in the chat telling John Kapler the Bears are going to maul the Lions on Thanksgiving. Goff or no Goff. Bears match up really well against the Lions. Lions aren't ready for it. I 100% agree that they match up really well against us. What do you think of that take, Russ?
I think that's a good game. I think it's a great game. And the thing is I think that a Lion fan can say the exact same thing to the Bears, because if the secondary goes from atrocious, not below average, worse than below average, not like if it goes from that to average, I don't think that teams are going to be able to handle what we're going to be able to do defensively. But I think they're going to be better than average. And I can say that I can say the exact same thing about them. They're not ready.
Right.
They're
right.
You're not just going to throw deep balls down to DJ Moore.
Right. And this is like Eminem and 8 Mile. Are you really going to, troll us on losing on Thanksgiving? It's tradition, broski. We love tradition here. The smell of turkey wafting through the house, the Lions losing, family coming over. It's all part of the experience, man. Are you kidding?
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Lee says, of course we'll lose on Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving. Exactly. Jeremy says, Goff's only missed 2 games as a Lion so far. Good call, Jeremy. Thank you for that. Don't forget, you can watch Jeremy B on the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV too, his show as well. Lions with Smoke and Jeremy B. John Clavler says, if you mean mall by go to the mall. It's so bad that it's funny. All right, I'm going to change topics on you here now. We're about halfway through this show, and it's really flying by. The next preseason game will be at the Kansas City Chiefs. So do you think the Lions, Russ, are going to ramp up the number of starters that we see, or are we going to continue to see for about the same thing? And Jeremy, you out there in the chat, I'm asking you guys all the same thing as well. Do you think we see the number of starters ramped up into the next game, and then again in the next game in Pittsburgh, the last game in Pittsburgh even? That would be like, you would think that would be like the final chance for these guys to get a look, right? And Pittsburgh, you would see mostly the 3rd and 4th string.
I don't know what Dan Campbell's going to do, because he said that he wanted to watch practice this week. And you know that Andy Reid's going in with his starters. So, I don't know. That would take a lot of balls for me to have Dan Campbell go in there and play the 2s against Mahomes. And that would be a statement and a half. Be like, let's let our number 2s go in there and really get their feet wet. Let's see if they can really get there, because this is the type of situation you're going to be in. If you ever are called on to go into the game, you're going to have to go in against somebody else's starters. So get in there and get it done. So I don't know. Maybe they'll have our starters go out there for a series, but probably no more than that, Mike.
Okay. The starters, though, and even that I would believe would be a limited roster of starters. I mean, I would be shocked if we see Jared Goff at all in the preseason, right? Even suited up.
There's no reason to. I mean,
last year they tried to do that, and he begged to go in, begged to go play. Maybe he does that again.
Well, what competitor doesn't want to go in and compete, especially when the cameras are on? I mean, really all that preseason game is a glorified practice with the cameras on. All the shit that they were doing last week with the with the Giants, that the whole week was a game, I guess, you know.
And I'm ready to talk about Caleb Williams. I am. I'm ready to talk about it. I'll tell you what, Russ. I've been telling you a long time. 2 years ago, when the Bears could have drafted C.J. Stroud, or not, C.J. Stroud, I told you then it's Caleb. Ryan Poles wants Caleb Williams, and he pulls off that trade, gets the number 1 pick. It's always been Caleb Williams. Every time they were like, "You think they'll trade Justin Fields?" I guarantee they're going to trade Justin Fields. That was my mantra, because it's always been this guy. He's got the most Mahomes-like skill set. And Ryan Poles comes from where? Kansas City. He knows this is the prototype. This is the new mold of the NFL. Being able to create off platform. When the pocket breaks down, having that innate pocket awareness. This kid's got that stuff. The concern for Chicago, of course, is the offensive line. Bear fans will tell you it's fine. Oh, it's fine. But they're banged up now. Jeremy's point here, Nate Davis, the starting right guard, is hurt. Evan Jenkins is hurt. Their O-line is softer than Christian Watkins' hamstring. You like that?
You like
that? Sorry, guys. Podcast machine's broken. We're going to have to talk about the sun god just so I can make you do the power of Ra.
By the power of Ra.
Elise Meme says, I pray to God that we keep the starters on the bench until week 1. Amen, sister. So here's another topic that I like. I'm a bit of a gambler, not a lot. Just, I don't never bet more than I can afford to lose, but I love to lose $100 a year. And there's a bet out there right now that you can get at any online casino, any casino app. And that is Jameson Williams over 33.5 receptions for the season. We looked it up earlier, Russ. What did he have last year? What was his reception total? 28? Was it 28 he had last year?
Yep. And just over
23. Maybe it was 23. Maybe it was 23. It was 23, maybe. And 23 reception on 42 targets. So now that Josh Reynolds is gone, 33.5, Russ, if you're the number 2 receiver on a high-powered offense with a great offensive line and an accurate quarterback. That just seems like easy money to me, folks. Put it in the chat. Tell me what you think. Over, under, Jameson Williams, 33.5 receptions total for all 17 games cumulatively for the season, 33.5 receptions all year long. Should I put some money on that? Should I put measly $25 on that? The odds are at minus 130. Which means when you bet $100, you lose 130. So if I bet 25, I'm going to lose an extra 30% on top of that $25. So it does make that a little if you lose. So you're looking at what your total loss would be, 42 bucks or something. So my point is, if you increase that number from 33.5 total receptions to, let's say, 43.5 receptions, that increases the odds. It then becomes even money. So now if I bet 100, I lose 100. So if I bet 25, I lose 25. You take away that juice, it goes to even money when you raise the number. And if you raise that number even more, it becomes plus money. So it becomes plus 150 if he catches 80 passes. Okay? So every 100 you bet, you win 150. On top of the 100 that you bet. So 150, that's 2 to 1. So those are good odds. And I just want to hear from you villains out there. Should I put $25? It just seems like a lock to me, and I'm asking for your help. Russ, I know you're not a bettor, but what do you think?
I think 80 is where you're getting into the deep waters. So here's where I look. When I studied Jameson Williams, it was a matter of opportunity. And if you play fantasy football, you know what this means. Is usually the most opportunistic, the ones with the most opportunities are the ones that score the most points in fantasy football, not necessarily the most talented guy. So if he
volume is so important.
Volume is more. So last year, the most that they had given him, because they don't the Lions don't believe in you just get to jump him on the depth chart, right? Josh Reynolds had earned his number 3 receiver spot, and he got those targets. So Jameson just got spot targets until the end of the year, and I think he only broke 10 targets one time all season, and there's no Josh Reynolds this year. So just send the uptick in targets, whether you think he's going to be a bust or not. Here's the fact of the matter is Ben Johnson is going to double or even triple his targets this year. The amount of times he's going to get opportunities to get the ball. So for him that 30 is a lock. I would take a bet.
33. It's 33 and a half. It started at 31 and a half. 2 months ago, it started at 31 and a half, and it takes about roughly $10 million, they say, to move a point. So that's $20 million that's been placed on this bet to go over.
So can I get it at 60? What's the bet at 60? Because
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. You can do the math. Right now, the odds are minus 130. So if you bet 100 on it right now at 33 and a half and you would lose $130. You would lose an extra $30.
You're not going to lose that. You're going to gain. What is the payout on that? You get
subtract that 30%. So you'd get 70. You'd bet 100 to win 70.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely take the over on that. He's definitely going to have over 33 receptions.
Well, that's why the odds are what they are. So where would you push it? So how many receptions you think he's going to?
I mean, I think 60 would be safe. I think
60 is safe. Wow.
60. I think he's going to have over 60 receptions. I think that he'll probably have somewhere between 60 and 80 receptions.
Wow. Jeremy says he'll be disappointed. Jeremy says he'll be disappointed if it gets less than 45. And I think that sounds like a more realistic number to me, Jeremy. 45 than 60. I mean, 50 would be incredible, and your odds would be at even money. You know, you could even get into plus money if you find the right sites. You have to look around. There's different odds through different books.
But he's got to do the most with the targets that he has, too. That one thing I will guarantee you is that Ben Johnson will target Jameson Williams at least double what he did last year, if not triple.
We are talking right. We are talking about Jameson Williams odds. Total receptions for the year for 2024 season. It is set at 33 and a half, the over. We have some villains out there that are doing some research for us. We're going to find out what those odds will be to get to plus money. How many does he have to get? I'd like you to put it in the comments, folks. Tell me. I want to hear from all of you. Let me know how many receptions do you think Jameson Williams will have in 2024? Jeremy B, Smoker Jeremy B says 45. He'll be disappointed if it's less than that.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you?
Russell thinks 60 is safe. I'm going to say 45 would be good. 50 would be great. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah. And the thing is like, there's a lot of mouths to feed. I mean, I think that's where the danger comes in, is there's a lot of mouths to feed here. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get a lot of receptions and targets. And, Sam Laporta's got to be in there. Amon-Ra, I mean, he had 130 catches last year or something crazy. So it's like it's a good problem to have, because I think that Goff is an elite distributor of the ball. So when there's a lot of targets all around, he's pretty smart and to get it into the playmaker's hands quickly, because he ain't going to be doing any giraffe Goff running out of the side. You don't want him running those RPOs. So yeah, the more targets, the better. But I mean, Jameson Williams is a playmaker. So more targets, more chances to make plays.
And I think Khalif Raymond is such a great role player for this team as well. He's always makes a big catch. He might only get 2 or 3 targets in a game, but it always seems to be a meaningful catch. It's a big catch at a big moment. And he's one of the best punt returners in the NFL. And we saw in the preseason game with Mo Alexander returning punts, just wasn't getting it done. I breathed a sigh of relief knowing that I won't be seeing Mo Alexander returning punts this year, probably because it's Khalif Raymond is one of the best. All right.
I dig me some Khalif Raymond. He's like one of those Don Kelly baby. Remember the Detroit Tigers? that could play every position.
Yeah.
You know, John Kelly, baby. Nobody cared about him outside of Detroit, but you could ask him to do anything.
And can you believe that Tom Kennedy is still out there playing football for the Detroit Lions right now? Did he get like this career-ending injury last year? And I told you, and you and I said, I'm not giving up on Tom Kennedy. We have not seen the last of Tom Kennedy. The corpse of Tom Kennedy.
That's right.
And he is out there still playing. Darcy says, that's my 85. I mean, the fans love this guy. We love Tom Kennedy. Like, even if Tom Kennedy doesn't make the team, we'll all just go, aw.
We'll celebrate that practice squad. He'll get on the practice squad and be like, yeah, Tom Kennedy, baby.
Just like Frosty the Snowman. He'll be back again next year.
Oh,
Tom Kennedy. Gotta love that guy. You know, Dan Campbell probably loves that guy.
I mean, on the way you're going to bite a kneecap, I mean, he literally gave his kneecap for this team.
Right on.
So can I bring up something right here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because if A-Dub is watching, I don't know if we ran all the Packer fans out of here already, but this right here, I'll give myself a shameless plug because that is one Jordan Thomas Michael W. Smith Love in the picture right there. And there's Caleb Williams behind him. But Caleb Williams had himself a pretty good game. But Jordan Love, by far, was the most impressive out of any NFC North quarterback in the preseason. And I absolutely love what he did in there. He gets paid his $55 million. He goes out there, 2 for 2, throws on a rope to Wicks right there, stride for stride. That would have been, you could have had anybody covering him. You could have had Jalen Ramsey covering him, running step for step. That ball was perfectly thrown. He drops the mic and says, hey, Clifford, go in there, take care of my light work. Impressive showing by Jordan Love. He showed, at least in the preseason, as much as you could show in the preseason. I thought that was just a great look for Jordan Love, and I'm a little more scared like you with him showing out like that. And it was only 2 passes, and it was only preseason. I get that, but that was a beautiful throw on a
Russell
rope.
Wayne with some Jordan Love. I love it. That's a great take. It's a great take, Russell, and it shows that you're not just a homer, right? You've been one of Jordan Love's toughest critics, and for you to come out and say that, man, I think that's awesome, and I love it. Right, 2 for 2. Hey, Clifford, get
in there, take care of my light work.
Right,
I took care of that thing for you.
EV says, how long is this on for? Well, EV, this is a weekly show. It's every Monday night at 7 p.m., like it says right there on the screen, and it ends in about an hour. Usually it's an hour program. We're at 7:45 right now, so Eastern time, that is. But we're kind of about to wrap it up. I thought I heard some music in the background a minute ago, so we're probably going to be wrapping off. Great to see you in here, though, EV. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Jeremy B from Smoking Jeremy B on the Roku Huddle Sports Network. John Kapler, the bad guy of Detroit. Broski Bear, Darcy, Detroit Darcy Maville in the house. You can check him on Detroit Lions News Podcast. Big special thanks to Joe Chapp and the boys at Detroit Lions News Podcast for letting us be a part of your incredible network. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook.